Welcome to Foundational Patterns, and we are in the topic of shape space and measurement. Today we'll be talking about the identifying of two-dimensional shapes. So two-dimensional shapes, sometimes they're called polygons. Now the word poly simply means many and gon means sides. So that's basically what a two-dimensional shape will be. So we say it's two-dimensional because we'll have the length and we'll have the breadth. And from them, we can look into few examples of this. So we have a triangle, which obviously has three sides, and a quadrilateral. So a quadrilateral is any four-sided shape. We'll talk about a few of these quadrilaterals later. Then the next one is the pentagon. So pent means five and gon means side. So it is a five-sided shape. And this is a hexagon. Hex means six. And this basically is a six-sided shape. And then we have a heptagon, or sometimes it's called a septagon, which simply means has seven sides. This is a seven-sided shape. And we have an octagon, which simply means oct means eight, and we have an eight-sided shape. And nano means 9, and deca means 10. You get the picture. So these shapes can be divided into regular shapes and irregular shapes. So basically, when we have a regular shape, it means the sides and the angles of the shapes are equal. But then in an irregular shape, the sides and angles have different sizes. So with an irregular shape, it will be a weird looking kind of a shape, and basically sometimes those are the shapes that are dominant in nature. Now we have a square as one of the regular shape, whereby this side is equals to this side and this equals to that side. So all the sides of a square are equal. And we have a rectangle where we have this side being equals to this side and this side being equals to this side. All right. And obviously we have a circle, and then we have an ellipse, or what we normally call an oval. All right. Then we have an equilateral triangle. Equilateral simply means equal sides. Lateral means side, so this side is equals to this one and equals to this one. An isosceles triangle, it will be a triangle whereby two sides are equal, so this side is equals to this side. And then a scalene simply means that none of the sides are equal. So this side has its own size, this one has its own size, and this one has its own size. All right. And finally, we have a right angle triangle where we have a 90-degree angle. So a right angle triangle can either be a scalene, or it can be an isosceles triangle, but definitely cannot be an equilateral triangle. And then we also have other shapes such as the rhombus, whereby all sides are equal, but we also know that this side is parallel to this one, when this one here is parallel to that one. All right. And then a parallelogram is basically more like a squeezed rectangle. So this side here is equals to this one, and it's also parallel to that side as well. And then we have this side here being parallel and equal to the opposite sides. Then we have a trapezium, overseas they call it a trapezoid, but we call it a trapezium. Okay, so essentially with a trapezium we just need these two sides to be parallel. All right, and then we have a kite, whereby we say this side here must be equal to that one, and this one here must be equal to that one. So that is what a kite is. Then next we look at regular shapes. So one of those is a pentagon. With a pentagon, all 5 sides are equal, so that's why we call it a regular pentagon. And with the regular hexagon, all 6 sides are equal. All right, and with an octagon the same, and with a decagon also the same thing. All right, so let's compare between the regular and irregular shapes. So here we have an equilateral triangle, which means all 3 sides are equal, but the same cannot be said for this one because the sides are not equal. And then we can have a square. All right, all sides are equal in a regular quadrilateral, which is a square, but in an irregular quadrilateral, so we can see that the sides are different. Okay, next we look at the regular pentagon. A pentagon is a 5-sided shape, okay, still having 5 sides being equal, so this is a regular pentagon. And then when we look at an irregular pentagon, you see that it has different sides. Okay, next is a regular hexagon. Now with a regular hexagon, we know that all 6 sides are equal. All right, but this one is a weird looking thing, but when you look at it, it has 6 sides. So because you will have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is still a hexagon with 6 sides, but it is really a weird looking thing. So that is why we call it an irregular hexagon. With a regular heptagon, we have 6 sides that are equal. Okay, but with an irregular heptagon, we have this is a regular hexagon, which means it has 7 sides. And with this one irregular, it is really a weird looking shape there, but it also has 7 sides as well. We can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it has 7 sides. With a regular octagon, the octagon has 8 sides that are equal, and the irregular one will also have 8 sides, but they will not be equal, and the rest goes on for the regular nonagon, regular decagon. You can check them for yourself. So you can, at this point you can pause the video and check. Now we are saying with these irregular shapes, we have a scaling triangle. It has 3 sides. A rectangle, it has 4 sides. An irregular pentagon, it will have 5 sides. Irregular hexagon, it has 6 sides. Irregular heptagon, it has 7 sides. Irregular octagon, it has 8 sides. Irregular nonagon, it has 9 sides. And we can see these kind of things are really weird looking shapes. And then we have irregular decagon, it will have 10 sides as well. Now we're going to look into quadrilaterals. So we are saying quadrilaterals are any 4-sided shapes. So those are quadrilateral. Now let's have a look at these quadrilaterals. So this is a quadrilateral. and basically all of them are quadrilateral. So the first quadrilateral that we can look at is a parallelogram. So what we will know about and notice about the parallelogram is that opposite sides are parallel and they are also equal. Okay, opposite sides of a parallelogram are equal and parallel. All right, next we can look into a rhombus. A rhombus is more like a parallelogram, but all sides are equal. So these sides are opposite sides, and actually all the other sides are equal, but opposite sides are parallel to each other. All right, and next we have a kite. A kite will have the two sides next to each other being equal, and the other two sides being also equal. So that's what we know about the kite. And then we can move on from the rhombus, saying from the rhombus we know that all four sides are equal from the rhombus. Then we can move to a square. A square is more like a rhombus, except that the angles of the square are all 90 degrees. So all four sides are equal and opposite sides are parallel to each other. Okay, so that's what we know about the square. And from the square we can move on to the rectangle. With a rectangle, the rectangle is more like the parallelogram, except that the angles are 90 degrees, but the same is true as what we have discussed with the parallelogram, because the opposite sides are equal and they are parallel to each other. So this one is equal and parallel to this one here. All right, then next we have the trapezium, which is called a trapezoid. So we will stick to the name trapezium. So this one is simply a trapezium and it will have two sides being parallel. Okay, and then we have an isosceles trapezium, which means this side here is equals to this side. All right, and sometimes we can have a right trapezium whereby we'll have two sides being parallel to each other and there's a 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's the discussion concerning the quadrilaterals. So in the next lesson we will be talking about identifying three-dimensional objects and solids, and we will take the discussion from there. Thank you for tuning in. You can send us comments and questions and things that you would like us to discuss in the comment section.